Hey everyone, today we are out here in beautiful Redmond, Oregon. I got my buddy Alex here with me, which if you've seen the other videos we've done from Radian, you already know, but just in case you don't know, now you know. Him and I used to work together at the gun store where I'm still employed, but now he has been over here with Radian Weapons for the last few years now, just kind of loving life, living the dream, and we just decided to have a day to come out, try out a bunch of the Radian products that you know, some of us have a lot of experience with, like the Raptors and the Talons, which just kind of everyone knows are good, but maybe get some attention on some of the stuff that people aren't as familiar with, like the complete Model 1 rifles like we have here in front of you. And we've also done videos on the new like barrel and comp setups with the afterburner and the ramjet and the Guardian red dot system. But right now I want to focus on like the Model 1 and just kind of Radian as a company. So if anyone is basically interested in looking into getting a Model 1 or getting a Radian, hopefully this will help you understand what you're getting with one of these rifles and then why Radian might be worth your consideration in general if you're looking to purchase like a really nice turnkey rifle. So what do you guys do with the Model 1 that really separates it from the rest of the market?
There's a lot of different features tucked into the Model 1 system that really kind of sets it apart. Foremost being the ADAC system. Yeah. Ambidextrous dual action catch.
And some of you who might be familiar with the Radian stuff will know of the ADAC receivers, like the lower receiver being full ambi. And you guys have some really interesting designs going into that to allow it to be ambi for things like locking the bolt open and releasing the bolt. So what sets that ADAC lower apart?
So the ADAC lower, the thing that sets it apart is being able to use some of these buttons currently on the system for different functions. Let's get rid of the magazine here. Being able to leave your dominant hand there on the weapon and charge it, and then use the magazine button to then hold that bolt back. So that allows you to leave that hand on there, lock the bolt back, clear a jam, and then also send the bolt home with the paddle above it. So being able to do that from both the left and right hand side of the weapon was very important to us. So normal bolt catch and then bolt drop there on that side. So being able to manipulate both all of the features of the weapon from both the left and right hand side was a very important feature for us.
And it's also worth mentioning, so you know, a lot of companies will also have things like ambidextrous magazine releases and whatnot. I really like the location and positioning of this because even as a lefty, while that ADAC is mostly meant for righties to be able to hold your magazine release down, the actual location of your bolt lock and your magazine release are such that when I was actually running this lefty, I just kind of experimented with just being able to use that finger to be able to hold the bolt catch down and hit the mag release at the same time and still be able to successfully lock it open. And then again, you still have the full functionality to release it, and it's actually a little bit enlarged, which is really nice. And then you also have the bolt release on the other side if you're the kind of lefty that likes to use your thumb still to be able to release the bolt on the right-hand side. So basically, you just leave your hand on fire control the whole time during your entire malfunction clearing. You're not having to like take it out of your shoulder pocket, rest it against your leg, lock the bolt open and do all your stuff. It's all right here without having to do a bunch of manipulation.
Exactly.
So that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
Now, obviously with the ADAC lowers, you're also getting things like the flared magwell and what else are you getting there?
Yeah, so even with just the lower receiver, when you purchase just a lower, it is going to come with a few features already installed. It is going to come with your takedown pins already in. It's going to come with your ADAC system already installed. The only things needed to complete the rest of the lower receiver are going to be your trigger, your grip, and then your buffer system. So there's a lot that's going to come with that lower receiver. It will come with an ambidextrous talon as well, as Ryan mentioned, the flared magwell, and then kind of an extension of the Magpul PMag design has kind of continued on to the lower receiver there. So a lot of features that come with that lower. So that is the configuration in which the lower receiver will come. It is mil-spec, so if you ever wanted to just put a mil-spec upper on top of it, all of that stuff fits on there. We do have a system inside of the back of the lower receiver that is called SART. This is a spring system and plunger that puts upward pressure on your upper receiver that eliminates wobble between those two. So we wanted a very tight fit between our uppers and lowers, and if you ever had another upper to be put on there, that could be adjusted to where you could eliminate a lot of the wobble between your Radian lower and then whatever mil-spec upper on top of there.
Nice. Now, one of the things that, at least with these that it comes with, that at least as of the time of filming this, that maybe isn't listed on the website or isn't even listed available separately, is this comes with your guys' trigger, correct?
Yeah, correct. So the Radian Vertex trigger used to be exclusive to our Model 1 system. Over this past year, it is something that we have made available standalone by itself. The triggers do come in a curved bow as well as a flat bow as well. So there's a couple different configurations that it comes in. It is a trigger that is produced by Timney, but designed by us.
Okay.
So it's up to our specs there.
Right.
We wanted a single stage 3.5 pound trigger. So that is what Timney produces for us, and we call it the Radian Vertex, which is now sold by itself.
Awesome. Now, moving back into the stock assembly, like you said, you know, if you buy the lower by itself, that's something you need to add. But this comes with your guys' end plate, which has the, was it a titanium actual QD socket?
Yep, correct.
There's a lot of, I would say affordable, but there's also some expensive end plates out there that are QD, that use aluminum, and I see those things tear out all the time, even from some other organ companies. But this has a titanium reinforcement in there to A, keep it lightweight, and B, give you that durability. Is there anything else special going on with your guys' buffer assembly?
We use a couple different companies' parts for the rear end. As you can tell, the PWS enhanced buffer system. We do a JP Enterprises enhanced buffer spring inside of there, and then a standard H2 buffer that runs very smoothly with the rest of our system here. Of course, we like Magpul, so if you buy Model 1, you are going to get a Magpul stock there on the rear. So that's kind of finishing off that lower there.
Lower receiver. Yeah, and again, you can buy the lower separately, but especially as he was starting to get into with that JP spring and the H2 buffer, what really sets apart a high-end rifle like the Model 1 from your just standard off-the-rack AR-15, while perfectly functional in most cases, the tuning is what really sets apart a high-end rifle like this. And when we're talking about tuning, the biggest thing you're tuning is that gas system. And so getting everything to kind of be harmonious with each other is going to be really big. So getting into that, let's talk about the upper receiver.
So the upper receiver, of course, it is our furniture that is made all in-house in Redmond, Oregon. Our upper is proprietary to our handguard. We designed these two to match up perfect. We want lines to be smooth, and we want it to be very aesthetically pleasing, which is something that we greatly get from the upper. Inside of the upper, or inside of the, we have the barrel inside of here. It is a barrel. We do get blanks, but it is turned by us in-house. So we do have our influences of our extremely tight tolerances and perfection put onto that barrel. We do get a sub MOA guarantee with Black Hills ammo on that. So the accuracy of our barrels was something that was very important to us. So it is a perfectly tuned system. Since we turn them, our gas holes and everything are tuned exactly for what we need for our system. So when you buy a full Model 1 system, the whole gas system as a whole is beautifully gassed. Yeah,
and I mean, shooting this is where you really get a feel for that. And today was my first time shooting a Model 1. And we were also shooting a machine gun out here, as you guys will, I'm sure, will have seen the footage. And they just are really smooth running guns. I mean, you can even tell the ejection pattern is extremely consistent, and just that recoil impulse is very smooth and very nice to shoot. And, you know, obviously, like you said, by having your proprietary upper and your handguard, you have a lot of aesthetic improvement there, in my opinion at least. Obviously that's going to be more subjective. However, what's not subjective is, you know, and the beauty doesn't mean much if it's also not robust, but this is a pretty robust attachment method as well.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you can kind of beat on this thing and you'll do just fine. And, you know, again, we're talking about accuracy, guaranteed sub MOA. This bug will leave me alone. Guaranteed sub MOA with Black Hills ammo. I've seen a lot of testing from other people out there who've done videos on the Model 1, and they're still getting sub MOA, even with some fairly run-of-the-mill ammo as well.
Yeah.
But speaking with the accuracy, having that rigidity and robustness, if that's even a word, on the handguard, presumably that would also hold really well if you're running IR lasers and whatnot on there too. There are some companies that you're having to buy specialized handguards just to maintain zero. That doesn't seem like it would be a problem on this at all, right?
Nope. For me personally, on my guns, on my Radian Model 1s, I have D-Ball D2 up top. I have never had an issue with that laser losing zero. It is a very strong and robust handguard system that will hold zero. So we designed that specifically to be very strong.
Yes. And now moving forward, kind of the standard muzzle device for you guys is the dead air key mount flash hiders. You guys do these in, well, like what, like a 10-3, 10-5?
10-5.
10-5, a 14-5, a 16, and a 17-7.
Yep, and then a 9-inch 300 blackout.
9-inch 300 blackout. Now, where this is really going to matter is really that 14.5-inch pin and weld, because that is going to be pin and welded to abide by the ATF restrictions. We can talk all about the merits of the ATF and how the ATF should be disbanded, but that's a topic for another video. But if you are, say, running a Surefire RC2 or any number of other QD systems, if I'm ordering a 14.5 from you guys, do I have to then pay a gunsmith to unpin and repin a new muzzle device, or can I just have that put on at the factory?
Yeah, so if you're purchasing a Model 1 from us and you want a specific muzzle device, that is something that you can send into us. You just get in touch with our customer service team, let them know that you have a rifle on order, send that into us. We would then keep that with your order along the way, and as soon as we are ready for that pin and weld stage, then we will make sure that muzzle device is on there for you.
Awesome. So it's just kind of ready to go out of the box. And that's one of the things that you get, again, when you're talking about a high-end manufacturing company like this is, you know, you guys, it's pretty much one gunsmith start to finish, full attention to detail. That person is doing every step of the process. It's not an assembly line where you're some companies who brag about how fast they can put out AR-15s, which is such a weird flex. You guys are putting a lot of attention into each one. So because of that, you can do those extra little bits and pieces that people like. You can even select what color you want. So like we've got the OD, because OD is life. What is this, the Radian Brown?
Yep.
Okay. And you guys have other options as well?
Yeah, we have a black, a flat dark earth, and then I think I'm missing one.
Black, flat dark earth, OD, brown, maybe gold, you know, hey. It's worth asking about, you know, you never know. Maybe it'll cost extra, I'm not saying it won't, and maybe it won't be an option. Maybe people at Radian are really upset with me right now, but I don't know. Now, one of the things that always kind of goes hand in hand with a robust rifle is weight. Now, this isn't exactly a light rifle, but it does also feel like the kind of rifle that I can kind of bang around and it'll take whatever I throw at it.
Yep.
What kind of testing have you guys done with the Model 1s?
Well, of course, it's been around for a while, so it has been beat up by a lot of different people. A lot of our employees have tested stuff extensively. Our engineer team, they test a large amounts of things that could be done. Of course, thousands and thousands of rounds have been smashed through our guns, and they just keep on running. Of course, as you mentioned, it is a little heavier on there for the barrel system, but you know, we were kind of going for a heavier barrel because we were going for accuracy
and also consistency.
Yep.
You can get skinny barrels to be accurate, but they start losing that accuracy really quick as you're starting to run a lot of rounds through it. You don't usually get that with the heavy barrels. These will be accurate and kind of stay accurate throughout, no matter what your firing cycle is.
Extends the life of that barrel.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Now you guys are again doing the 5.5 or 223 wild and 300 blackout.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of other boutique rounds that people talk about. Is that an option, or is that really just those two?
Something that we are going to be moving into later this year. It is currently in the engineering stages, but we are working on a 6-arc.
6-arc, okay.
It is something that was announced at SHOT Show. We are expecting it hopefully by the end of the year, but we wanted a caliber that we can still use within the AR-15 platform, but get a caliber that's a little bit bigger for reaching out a little bit.
Yeah, and for those of you not familiar with 6-arc, that's really a design long range round where you're really pushing the boundaries of what your effective range on an AR-15 is. You're definitely pushing it past, you know, where 5.56 goes transonic and therefore unpredictable. Because I mean, obviously you can hit targets, especially with a rifle like this at 700 meters or so. But really, even at that distance, depending on the ammo, especially pushing past that, whether or not you're a great shooter, once that bullet goes transonic, you can't predict what it's going to do anymore. And we figured that out when we were doing some long range shooting a couple months ago, just with some other guns. There's a reason that the military has what the max effective range is on their guns. It's not just how far do you think you can hit somebody. There's actual math going on, which I know is surprising for guys in the Army or Marines for that matter. That is not a statement endorsed by Radian Weapons. That is purely me as a former airman to diss on other branches. So now again, something like this isn't cheap, but what is your approximate MSRP if you're doing a complete Model 1?
So they begin about 29 for some of the shorter ones. As they get a little bit longer, the more material inside there, it does get a little bit more expensive. We are sitting at about 31 for some of the longer lengths, but inside of that window there.
Yeah, so definitely not cheap, and that is definitely not going to be something that's accessible to everybody. Now, for those of you who still want some of the features without spending that much money, as we were talking about, you can buy just the ADAC lower itself. You can also buy builder kits where it's the upper, lower, and handguard, so you get a lot of that benefit, but you can still use whatever barrel you want, still use whatever trigger and bolt carrier group and all that kind of stuff. But again, these are just designed to be turnkey, out of the box, throw an optic, throw a sling, throw a light, you're ready to go, and that's really probably the only gun you'll ever need. Now, especially when we're talking about stuff like that, I think this is where it becomes especially important to talk about why you would support a company like Radian Weapons over some of the other high-end manufacturers with 2 or 3 letter names out there that are in the competition for these or in a similar price range. And this is where I want you to really touch on what Radian Weapons is, what your guys' kind of mindset is, and you know, we've seen, this is going to sound weird to people who aren't in the industry. You would assume anyone who's in the business of manufacturing firearms is all of a sudden, or just by its pure nature, going to be super pro 2A, pro civilian gun ownership. That's actually not really the case. There's a lot of people who own and run firearms manufacturers who don't really particularly care. They just see this as an industry where they can make money, and that's all they're into it for. But Radian is not that way. Can you touch a little bit on what Radian is and their mindset on stuff like that?
Yeah, so we are a company that's based on innovation. We are always looking at what the market needs and trying to design the best product to fit the needs of a lot of different people. As you said, we've touched on competition shooters, law enforcement, military, stuff like this. So we always kind of look at certain areas and figure out, you know, where could we, you know, add in a product that could be kind of a game changer for a lot of different people. We are a company of shooters. We are people who are out there testing stuff. We are people who live, eat, sleep, and breathe guns. It is our lifestyle. And we really take that to heart. And there's a lot of morals and values that Radian expresses that really kind of come through a lot of us as employees. We want to make that company the best that we possibly can, and through establishing good morals and values, really kind of grow and have the community see who we are at Radian and kind of what we're about. We're not about driving out products that maybe won't work. we want to make sure that every single product that we put on the market is going to function properly and flawlessly for no matter the end user and who is using it.
Yeah.
A big thing for us too is we 100% stand behind every single one of our products. We understand that things happen and we want to be there for the customer every single step of the way. If you purchase a charging handle, if you purchase a safety, if you purchase a Model 1, you're going to have Radian behind you. Whatever happens, if you have questions along the way, our customer service team, whatever it is, we are going to do what we can to really stand behind who is running our products.
Awesome. And now, just to go back a little bit, you know, you can always say nice flowery words about supporting the Second Amendment, supporting gun owners. However, with Radian, from my experience over the years, it's not just nice flowery words. You guys have put your money where your mouth is. So for those of you in Oregon, you may remember it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago, there was a lot of stuff happening in regards to gun legislation here in Oregon, or proposed legislation here in Oregon. And Radian organized and hosted and set up probably one of the biggest Pro 2A rallies I have ever seen at the Capitol here in Oregon. And you guys foot the bill for that. You organized the whole thing. You got the speakers to come. There's a lot of other manufacturers in the gun world here in Oregon. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a lot of other manufacturers who didn't really seem all that interested in participating, or they kind of like were there to show their face, but they didn't put out any of the money for it, at least from what I understand of it. And if you guys might even be able to look back, I did a video with one of the people who was in charge of Radian at the time, talking about that at the rally. And again, I think it's really important to support the companies that support us. And the other thing too is, you know, as we touched on in one of the other videos, yeah, we're talking about a lot of money, but we're also talking about a gun that's built by people that know what they're doing, have that attention to detail, and have that pride in what they're doing. And in order to have employees like that, you can't just be paying someone minimum wage off the street who doesn't really know what they're doing. We're talking people that need to be paid a competitive wage. They're Americans here in America, here in Redmond, Oregon, doing the work. And if you want it done well, you've got to pay the piper to get that work done. And that doesn't come cheap. If you're talking about building things in-house, having those CNC machines, which you guys have a lot of, isn't cheap. And you know, that stuff costs money. And you're not just supporting some big nameless, faceless corporation. You're supporting an American company with real Americans, Pro 2A people who care about what we're doing and care about the cause, building these guns. And that's not something that comes cheap. And again, I understand I can't afford it. Most of the people out there can't afford it. But for the people that can afford it, I think that is enough justification, understanding where Radian is and like mentally or like philosophically, that might help put you over the edge versus some of the other competitors out there who, again, like two-lettered company that we're all familiar with, who literally could not care less about the American civilian market. We all know who we're talking about. Radian is the exact opposite. And one of the other things that I always value in a company is there's a handful of companies that have made the decision, if a government agent, like they will not sell guns to a government agency in an area where civilians could not purchase the same guns. There's not a lot of companies that are willing to do that, because for a lot of companies, government contracts, law enforcement contracts are kind of the thing that they care the most about. Radian is one of the companies that will choose not to do business with an organization because their civilians do not have those same rights and benefits that the law enforcement has. And when a company is willing to put their money where their mouth is, I think that says more than whatever flowery words anyone wants to say about that company.
And for me, it gives me kind of goosebumps, you know, thinking about how involved that we are with the gun community and how important it is to us to arm the American people and to provide weapons to the American people, good weapons.
Right.
It gets me motivated that we are involved with, you know, setting up these rallies. We donate large chunks of money to FPC, who are fighting for our rights every single day. it all comes down to us as shooters too. Having these big companies stand up for us and really, you know, go out of their way to show how important the 2A is. It really makes, you know, the little guys kind of feel good sometimes. So
yeah. And again, I know we're kind of on a soapbox talking about that, but again, when you're investing this type of money, I think it's really important to know where that money is going. And I think in the case of Radian Weapons, it's going to a good place. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think I'm happy.
Okay, good. Because I know this video is probably dragging on long enough. Again, the results speak for themselves. There's a bunch of other videos out there of people shooting the Model 1s. The results are out there. They speak for themselves. Again, it's not for everybody. It's not in everyone's price range, but for the people that can afford it, you're getting a really quality product when you're getting into this. It's literally a turnkey thing. There's nothing to change. It's already got the best of everything on the market in there. Can't ask for much more than that. So if people want to see the full product lineup or see the availability of 6-ARC, where can they find out about that?
Radianweapons.com is going to have all the information for you. If you're interested in just a lower or an upper or a full kit, all of that information is there for you. Any questions that might come up, our customer service team's on top of it. Reach out to us. As I said, our customer service team, we're full of shooters. When you call us and you got questions about your gun, you're not going to get some made up thing. You're going to get somebody who was out that day ripping rounds. So if you want stuff like that and information, when you call us like that, you're going to get an experienced shooter on the phone on the other side.
I mean, we were actually out here practicing drills for a shooting event a couple of you guys are going to. So these guys know what they're doing. Alex is a better shooter in many ways than I am. I think maybe I have the edge in some areas, but we complement each other well. Alex, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks for getting us out here shooting these guns so my viewers can see what that's all about. Again, links will be in the description for places where I can post that, but I know you guys know. If you can afford a $3,000 gun, you know how to use Google. Look up Radian Weapons, check out what these guys are doing. I think it's worth your time. They make some pretty compelling stuff. And definitely check out the other videos we've done on the Radian Weapons stuff here in the past. But anyway, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching. That's kind of like a 22422, I guess.
Yep, I just kind of ripped it a little bit.
Hey,
got a little excited.
It sounded good. You didn't sight it in good. That's the only reason I would miss. I mean, it's definitely very smooth shooting, and I am, well, notorious probably isn't the right word, but I did make a video years and years and years ago talking about how the Freedom Bone really didn't make any noticeable difference in the gun that I was shooting and the configuration I was shooting compared to other charging handles. But I am definitely noticing a lack of gas to the face.
Yep, and I always say a lot too, you'll see more gases on your fingers because you'll see it blowing down inside, like through the trigger guard and stuff like that. So,
and out between the receiver. Cool. Well, we'll give this a chance to cool down.
And how's the gas?
Honestly, fine. I do feel like a little bit, but considering I just shot like almost 100 rounds in a couple minutes, I think I need to reassess the Freedom Bone, because that was always my reason for, I mean, half of my ARs have Radian charging handles. All but one have Radian safeties, and the only one that doesn't is my polymer lower, because the KE Arms one, you kind of have to use one of their safeties if you want to be able to get it out. But part of my justification for always using a Geisley was the extra gas seal, but I still get a lot of gas to the face with that one. It'd be interesting putting a Geisley in something like this to see if there's a perceptible difference. Presumably there is. But yeah, I may have to change my thoughts about the Freedom Bone. It's not still, it's just the Raptor ST now.
Yep, the Raptor ST.
Because like Silencer Co. came out with their charging handle.
Gas buster or something.
That thing seems like a giant piece of shit. Everyone I know that has one has broken it at least once. And one of them, do you remember Ryan and Tanner from Morgan Detail?
Yeah.
So Ryan got one right when they came out, and he contacted. I hit it at least once. Yeah, that was terrible, man.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely terrible.
It's just awful. And again, going to what we were talking about earlier with this Raptor SD,
Yeah.
doing a literal mag dump, I'm not crying.
Yep, not coughing, not crying.